Now I'm late to say this because we're in June and this article was produced in May. But essentially they want to legalize propaganda. I don't know when exactly it became illegal to spout propaganda, but essentially the state is not allowed to issue propaganda. But if you ask me, all commercialism is propaganda for corporations and capital. So essentially, they're fighting to make war. The NDAA would make war propaganda legal again, and considering how exhausted our military-industrial complex is because of war after war after war, it's not surprising that they would have to resort to propaganda. The only other alternative would be a draft, and that would not end well. So it's either a draft or propaganda. Pick your poison. Now, a lot of anarchists are going to disagree with me on this, but bear with me for a second. I think it would be a good idea to legalize state propaganda. And the reason why is I think it would conflict with corporate propaganda. Anarchists might disagree with me on that. Some even state communists might disagree with me on that. But I think that at the end of the day, the state and corporate industry are opposed to one another. Whether or not they want to be, whether or not they can complement one another, I do think there are many times where the state is going to be contrary to the interests of corporations and vice versa. When the state no longer needs corporations to sustain itself, it will destroy it. And if corporations had their way, they would not need the state. It's sort of a love-hate relationship. Both of them want to get rid of the other, but for the time being, they need each other. It's like one of those spy movies, like the one Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt were in, where they were trying to kill each other, but at the same time there was a lot of sexual tension. That's the way I look at the state and corporations. And you can have one without the other. Well, I should say you can have the state without corporations, but you cannot have corporations without the state. And even though there will always be a state, no matter how corporatist we get, it would become less and less relevant, as we see today. The law does not exist for individuals. It does not protect individuals. It does not protect individual rights. It merely exists as an extension of contract laws, business practices, getting one company to sue another, like the way Yahoo recently sued Facebook, I believe, and things like that. That's all government seems to exist for nowadays, is to protect the capital. So if we empower the state, I believe it would deteriorate the capital, and therefore there would be less corporatism. Now, some people might not think that that's a healthy alternative, an all-powerful state, and that's just as bad, if not worse, than an all-powerful corporate oligarchy. However, I do not agree with that. I think that the state can be a very functioning, healthy, altruistic part of society. I think the state is inseparable from our transition from how we are today to how we want to be tomorrow. I do not think we can just get there by wishing for it. I do not think we can get there by just forming Amish communes. I think that the state is a necessary evil for that ultimate goal. And you might disagree with me on that, but, we're not given many choices. As far as morality is concerned, we're only given a limited number of options, given our perceptions, given our, backgrounds, given what things we have accessibility to, and knowing that, you have to decide what is worse. Is it worse to continue down this road of living under corporate rule where only big, huge billionaire companies get to make the rules and get to enforce them and get any kind of leeway whatsoever? Facebook gets to do whatever the fuck they want to. If you were to peer into people's personal lives, you would go to jail. But when Facebook does it, it's legitimate business. Well, would you prefer corporations get away with doing what you cannot, or would you prefer the state get away with doing what you cannot? Now, mind you, I'm not saying it's right either way, that you can't do something that they can. But what I am saying is that the state is more of a representation of your will than corporations, because you can vote in your state representatives and your senators, etc. You play an integral role in the law, because when society refuses to comply to the law is forced to change. Whereas with corporations, while on the surface their corporate policies change, their ethics change, it's all a ruse. They just do that to give face, and then they continue doing what they're doing anyway. Corporations have proven that they are far more detrimental to the human psyche and to human beings in general than the state. So you can agree with me on that, disagree with me on that, whatever. I guess that's it for now.